In today's video, I will be taking a look at my updated 2024 house prediction as of today, May 23rd of 2023. So I'm going to get right into today's video. Now I'm going to basically zoom around each of the 50 states. I think I'm going to start off with the state of Alaska here. Alaska with Mary Peltola, who defeated Sarah Palin, which was not much of a surprise. Nick Begich split away a lot of the vote in the second round. Mary Peltola was able to win, and I think she'll be able to win again because Sarah Palin might just end up being the nominee again, and being rejected by voters once typically means you don't have that good of a shot in the second race. Now for Arizona. Arizona, there is quite a few competitive districts here. The 4th district, probably the most safe out of the 3 competitive seats here. Greg Stanton should be able to win in this Phoenix-based district. Now the 1st district with David Shortenkert, he is very vulnerable in his seat. It is a trending blue seat. He is very conservative in terms of the issues, in terms of issues like voter fraud and etc. And really, I don't think he may be able to hold on in election years such as 2031, when Democrats have improved significantly in much of the Phoenix area. Nonetheless, I think he should be able to win at this moment in time because the area isn't too far gone for Republicans for him to lose. Now the 6th district with the Republican incumbent, which was elected in 2023 after unseating a Democrat. I think Republicans should be able to hold the seat again. Now for the state of California. California has quite a few competitive districts. Let's start with the 13th. 13th with John Durante, a Republican who narrowly defeated a Democrat in this very competitive seat within a point. I think this will flip towards the Democratic Party in the presidential election year, especially when Democrats won the district by quite a few points. I think the GOP will have a much more difficult task of actually hanging on. The same cannot be said, however, for a 22nd district incumbent Republican David Valadao in a Democrat plus 10 seat, in a Biden plus 10 seat. I think he is moderate enough, he is liberal on many issues for Democrats to at least split some votes for him and actually give him a realistic chance of winning re-election. Mike Garcia have a very conservative compared to David Valadao, voted to overturn the 2020 election results. Nonetheless, he was able to win re-election by quite a substantial margin, which is interesting considering this is a Biden plus 10 district. And I'm not sure how he was able to do that, but still, he was able to manage that pretty well. Now let's go to the Los Angeles region. So, I think Ken Calvert should be able to win re-election. I think Young Kim should be able to win as well. Now, Michelle Steele has a more competitive seat, but I think she should still be able to win re-election. Now, over Katie Porter's seat, she is relatively well known, and I think that should be able to help her boost name recognition, and she should be able to win her seat. Mike Levin in a much more safe district, I think he should be able to win re-election as well. So nothing really changing in California, though it has 54 districts, except for obviously the district that is currently held by a first-time Republican. Colorado, there are 2 specific competitive seats. The 7th district with Brittany Peterson could be slightly more competitive, but it's not super competitive in any way. The 8th district here with a new Democratic candidate who narrowly defeated her Republican challenger. This district was newly added in 2020, and I think this district being based in around the Denver area in a presidential election year, especially where Democrats are able to win much of the suburban areas in the state of Colorado, should be able to help the Democrats win re-election. The 3rd district with Lauren Boebert, who barely even beat Adam Frisch, the Democrat. She beat Adam Frisch by just 0.13 percentage points in this district. She might actually have a chance of losing re-election. Nonetheless, I think this time around, Republicans will invest more in her district, and she should still be able to win re-election. Connecticut with 1 competitive seat, this 5th district. The incumbent there was very unpopular, but still able to win re-election, and I think in 2022 that would have been by far their hardest challenge. In 2024, I think they should be able to win re-election relatively easily. Delaware, nothing there. So I'm going to go to Florida. Now, Florida doesn't have many competitive districts thanks to gerrymandering, really consolidating voters on both sides. The Tampa Bay area with Kathy Castor as the Democratic district in around the Tampa Bay area. You see Orlando got packed into 2 districts, with Miami-Dade, some of these areas being heavily Democratic. Now for this area of Georgia. Georgia doesn't have many competitive districts either, though it has a pretty large state. Now Hawaii, nothing there. Idaho, nothing there. Illinois, again, a very gerrymandered state. Republicans got packed into 3 districts. Democrats, you can see the very ugly lines. Now some of this may not be gerrymandering, but still very, very ugly lines. And especially districts like the 13th and 17th, heavily gerrymandered. And because of gerrymandering, Democrats are definitely going to win the 13th seat. The 14th district is slightly more competitive, but I think Democrats have a pretty good shot of winning it as well. And Eric Sosen, who just won their first election in 2023, should be able to win re-election again, though by a much closer margin. So Indiana, one competitive district here, which has been held by a Democratic incumbent for a very long time. Last time in 2020, they actually won by 17, but in 2022, they only won by around 7 points. Iowa, though it is a pretty fair map, the districts are pretty fair. At the end of the day, I think Democrats will not win any seats in presidential election year, considering all 3 of these competitive seats are hardly held by Republican incumbents. Kansas, with the 3rd district being the only competitive district, Sharice Davids should be able to win re-election. This district became slightly redder, but it's only slightly, and it won't really matter that much. Kentucky, nothing there. Louisiana, nothing really there either. For Maine, Jared Golden should be able to win re-election. We saw him do it in 2022. He almost escaped the second round of ranked choice voting. And in Maine, there is a ranked choice voting system. If either candidate is unable to reach 50% of the vote, there will be a second round of ranked choice voting where you get to rank the candidates. And really, I think Jared Golden probably will get help by that system, because from my understanding, the independent or third-party candidate typically splits more votes from the Democratic Party, where Democrats can get it back in ranked choice voting. Now Maryland, nothing there. Now, it was very interesting election night. David Throne, 91% of the vote was in. He was behind, but there were a lot of votes outstanding. Then some of the news sources were unable to catch on. He ended up winning by 10 points. I think he'll win by 10 points again in 2024. Massachusetts, nothing there. Michigan, quite a few competitive districts. Elisa Slotkin is not running for re-election. Dan Kindley, however, is running for re-election, and Hillary Scotton is also running for re-election. These 3 Democrats and their seats are very, very vulnerable, but I think Democrats are favored in all 3 seats, especially given I do expect Democrats to win Michigan overall on the presidential level. John James in Michigan's 10th is probably going to be able to win re-election again, though not by the most astounding margin. Minnesota, with 1 competitive district, Angie Craig's 3rd term in Minnesota 2nd, she should be able to win re-election. Now Mississippi, nothing there. Missouri, nothing there. Montana, really nothing there, but the 1st district with Ryan Zinke, I think he should be able to win nonetheless. This is still a closer seat. Although in the presidential election year, it should help him win re-election. Nebraska 2nd District, Don Bacon, should be able to win re-election. Again, this district could vote for a Democratic president, but a Republican congressman. Nevada, heavily gerrymandered. We have 3 Democratic really split districts. This is really more of a dummy matter. Technically speaking, all 3 of these districts can flip red, but I don't think that's going to happen. New Hampshire, 2 districts here. Both are pretty competitive, but I think Democrats are definitely favored, and the incumbents in both of those districts, Chris Pappas and Ann Cluster, typically overperform their Democratic presidential counterparts. New Jersey, with 1 competitive district, the 7th district, which was previously held by Tom Malinowski, now held by a GOP member. New Mexico, the 2nd district here, Gabriel Van Quez is probably going to win re-election. They barely won in 2022, but I think that will still be the case in 2024. New York here, we have quite a few competitive seats. The 17th district held by Michael Lawyer, the 19th district by Mark Monalrio, and 22nd district by Brandon Williams. These three are all freshmen because they all unseated Democratic incumbents. However, I think that they will all win re-election, but by very narrow margins. Pat Ryan, however, did win in New York's 18th, the one competitive Democratic-leaning seat that was able to be held by a Democrat in upstate New York out of all four of these seats. Now this 3rd district, currently held by George Santos, he is going to be running for re-election in this seat, even though he is currently under 13 counts of indictment and could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Now, George Santos, he might not win the primary, but if he wins, he's not going to win re-election. He is in a Democratic seat and nobody likes him. He is pretty much a joke. And if a Republican is able to successfully primary him out, I think the George Santos name will be too damaging for the GOP. Now, Anthony de Blasio could still win re-election, but I don't think so. And that will pretty much be it for New York. Now for North Carolina, there will be some type of redistricting. And I think the 6th district and the 13th district will both flipped. Now in this map, if the same map is to be reused, the 13th district will probably flip, but the 6th district will remain the same. And potentially a map that the Supreme Court may decide to draw again, it could be much more of a heavily Republican-leaning map, where Democrats could have potentially just 3 or 4 seats instead of the 7 they currently hold. Now for the state of North Dakota, nothing there. Ohio, again, the Supreme Court's balance tipped, and the one conservative justice that sided with the Democrats is now not on the court, and this means Republicans could have more authority over to gerrymander the state's maps and help them gain a political advantage. And I think at the end of the day, Democrats could end up having as little as 2 seats in the state of Ohio, because that is what the GOP previously tried to do. I think in a new map, Democrats will probably hold 3 seats as opposed to 5 they currently hold right now, as they hold the 9th, the Columbia District, the 3rd District, the 1st District, and the 13th District. Oklahoma, nothing there. Oregon, I think the Republican incumbent in the 5th District will narrowly hold on, but I think Democrats definitely will win the 6th and 4th competitive districts. Pennsylvania here, I think that Susan Wild should be able to hold on, but I think Mark Cartwright in a more conservative seat will probably not hold on. I think, however, Chris DeLuzio should be able to hold on to his seat as the Democratic incumbent, and Brian Fitzpatrick, very popular in his district, in a Bucks County-based district, I think he should be able to win re-election no problem. Rhode Island, nothing there. South Carolina, nothing there. Tennessee, South Dakota, nothing there. Texas, not many competitive seats. We don't have any competitive seats at all that are considered lean or tilt for either side. There are only these 3 majority Hispanic seats that are considered to be competitive by the remotest of all margins. Utah, nothing really there. Vermont, nothing there. Virginia, the 2nd district is slightly competitive, but Jen Kiggins was able to win and unseat the Democratic incumbent in that district, and I think they will end up holding on to their district. However, I think Abigail Spanberger should be able to easily win. This is much more liberal of a seat than where she was about 2 years ago before redistricting. Washington here, I think the 3rd district will flip from the Democratic candidate. They barely won thanks to a large amount of votes for Democrats in Vancouver, Washington, in the state. And I think the 8th district, however, Kim Schroeder should be able to win. He is a long-time incumbent in this competitive seat. Now the 3rd district, again, I think it's 50-50, but I think Republicans have a narrow lead. West Virginia, nothing there. Wisconsin, nothing there, really. And that would be the end of the map. So if you look at everything combined here, Democrats, in my opinion, will hold 212 seats to Republicans of 223. Nothing much has changed from my previous video. And really, yeah, this is just a 1 seat decrease for Democrats and 1 seat increase for Republicans, though some of these states have definitely flipped on both sides. Thank you for watching today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.